Okay, let's go. Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite. Boas-vindas ao evento online do Grupo de Trabalho Oportunidades de Negócios e Financeiras baseadas no Galileu. Este é um evento conjunto dos 3 centros de informações do Galileu na América Latina, e o idioma oficial será o inglês, com tradução simultânea ao português e espanhol. Você pode escolher o canal de áudio no botão Language na sua tela e pode enviar seus comentários e perguntas na área do chat. Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Bienvenidos al evento online del Grupo de Trabajo Oportunidades de Negocios Financieras basadas en Galileo. Este es un evento conjunto de los 3 eventos de información de Galileo en Latinoamérica, y el idioma oficial será en inglés con traducción simultánea al portugués y español. Usted puede elegir el canal de audio desde el botón Language en tu pantalla y puedes enviar sus comentarios y preguntas en el área del chat. Well, from now on, we will continue the event in English. Again, welcome participants and speakers to the working group on business and financial opportunities based on Galileo for Latin America. This is a joint event of the 3 Galileo Information Centers in Latin America. And I would like to invite the first speaker, Mr. Luis Cuervo, representing the responsible for the Galileo Information Centers in Latin America. He is representing the European Commission and the Directorate General Defense Industry and Space. Mr. Luis, welcome. You can start when you're ready.
Thank you, Eduardo. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody. In the name of DG Defense Industry and Space of the European Commission from Brussels. Welcome to everybody, and thank you for your participation and for the work undergone by the organizers. This session continues the work undergone by the working groups of the 3 Galileo Info Centers in Latin America, in Brazil, Chile, and Mexico. It seeks to complement the technical elements shared on Galileo and EGNOS with additional information on financial assistance from the EU available for projects on space. So the objective of the session is to portray specific financing opportunities to make you consider cooperate with EU counterparts on projects suited for the Latin American context and based on Galileo and on EGNOS. The 3 Galileo Information Centers have already organized technical webinars on different promising areas involving Galileo and EGNOS technology, such as aeronautics, including drones, agriculture, or transport. Following this process, started then and continued today, the 3 Galileo Info Centers will organize other working group sessions to allow you put forward concrete project proposals on the basis of what has been discussed up to now. Good projects always end up getting the funding they deserve. However, there is another way of seeing this very important interaction between funding and quality. Indeed, by making funding available for particular types of projects or sectors, the European Commission is in the end giving an indication of what it considers to be developed for policy, technological, or competitiveness purposes. It is with this focus that I would suggest that you listen to our speakers today. I would like to finish with a big thank you to the 3 Galileo Info Centers, to their consortium leaders, to Carles Mirapeix, Maria Mota, and Álvaro Gómez, and to their entire teams for making this joint session possible. And of course, to our speakers, my colleagues Isabella and Wojtek, respectively from DG DEFIS and the EU Agency for the Space Program. I wish you a very successful session and a fruitful involvement with the Galileo Information Centers, which, by the way, remain open for service, not only for those of you who are already involved in these working groups, but to any other interested parties, present or not here today. Back to you, Eduardo. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mr. Luis Cuervo, for your words and your introduction to this webinar, this online working group. And now I would like to invite Carles Mirapeix, Álvaro Gomes, and Maria Mota, representing the 3 information centers in Latin America. They are going to talk about Galileo and EGNOS as innovation engines and the role of the Galileo information centers in Brazil, Mexico, and Chile. Well, let's start with Carles, and then Álvaro, and then Maria. Welcome, Carles.
Okay, thank you, Eduardo. Can you hear me well? I hope yes.
Yes.
Right? Okay. So, well, first of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Carlos Mirapeix, the representative or the coordinator of Galileo Information Center Brazil. As all you know, this, as said before, this working group is organized by the 3 GICs, the Brazil, Chile, and Mexico. And I just would like to share with you a quite short presentation to, let's see if I can share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so in this presentation, we just would like to share which are the main objectives of the 3 centers and some more in-depth information about the working group's activities. Okay, so the main objective of the 3 centers at the end is to increase the awareness, the usage at the end, to the promotion of the Galileo, the European Global Navigation Satellite System. Right, this is as Luis said before. It's the centers are established and funded by the European Commission, and they are offering support and a privileged entry point to Latin American stakeholders. The idea is to promote the usage of the system. Okay, for those that still are not very familiar with Galileo, which are the main benefits of these systems, I would like to share this video. It's a very short video. It's 2-3 minutes video, where we can see which are the main benefits of Galileo. So let's see if I can manage it. I think that I have to go to here, and then compartir, and then okay, I think.
Satellite positioning has become a vital part of our everyday lives and is key for farming, science, precise timing, and emergency response. We use it in our phones, cars, planes, trains, ships, and thousands of other applications. Initially, it was powered by an American system, GPS, or Global Positioning System. A few years later, a Russian system, GLONASS, was introduced. In 2016, Galileo, the European Global Navigation System, launched its initial services. So what is Galileo, and what makes it different from other constellations? Galileo is a European state-of-the-art system that provides highly accurate, guaranteed global positioning and super precise timing. Once fully deployed, Galileo will consist of 24 operational satellites and 6 in-orbit spares, 23,000 kilometers above the Earth, supported by a range of terrestrial sensor stations and control centers around the world. Galileo is autonomous, but also interoperable with existing satellite navigation systems, and many devices combine 2 or 3 constellations to increase accuracy and reliability. While it can work with other systems, Galileo is unique. First of all, it's European and under civilian control. All other systems are operated by the military, so it provides Europe and European citizens with independence and sovereignty. Galileo also provides a range of new services, including search and rescue, PRS, a secure service for government applications, and a more precise positioning for commercial applications. By offering dual frequencies as standard, Galileo will in fact deliver new levels of real-time positioning accuracy and substantially improve availability of the service under the most extreme circumstances. By deploying Galileo, Europe also minimizes the risk of other navigation systems being switched off or degraded. Galileo is the result of unprecedented European cooperation and innovation to offer people across the globe a new, reliable, independent civilian navigation and timing system that will power limitless applications.
Okay, let's see if I can. I have to share again my previous screen. Okay, so now that we've seen which are the main benefits of Galileo satellite system, I would say that all the three centers, the three GICs, are developing many activities. I would say that all these activities can be split in 3-4 groups, are quite common in all between the three centers. First, we do market reports in order to understand the market opportunities, which are the main sectors per each country. Then we share different kind of information through webinars and working groups like we are doing today. And afterwards, we have some programs, some training programs. And thanks to the three of these types of activities, we are enriching, we are improving, growing the networking at different levels. With institutions, so with companies, industries, and with universities. Okay, so regarding regarding the working groups, the activity that we are doing today, I would say that the main objective of this activity at the end is to ease the potential stakeholders to develop a project, application, so even to improve the services that are currently offering to the market based on a Galileo satellite technology. Okay, and in this, under this activity, the working groups, there are some sessions to be done, and we can again split these sessions in 3 phases, 3 groups. Okay, the first one, the phase 1, it's market opportunities. Is where we try to identify the main opportunities, the main barriers in each sector, and how Galileo try to share with all the attendees in these working groups how Galileo can help them to solve these problems or to take advantage of these opportunities. In the second phase, we share different financial opportunities. Here we have 2 sessions. The first session is today. It's about European financial opportunities. In that case, those that are addressed to Latin American countries. That's why we are organizing this session together with the 3 GICs. And in the coming days and weeks, a second session more focused on local financial opportunity will be developed. In that case, separately. But every center will do independently, because we will talk about the local financial opportunities. And finally, we'll end this working group activities with some activities related to, but we will try to take advantage of all the work done, all the contacts, all the information that we had in this previous collected in these previous sessions. And at the end, as I said before, the idea is to help the potential stakeholders to develop any kind of a project, application, or any kind of usage integration of the satellite system. Okay. Regarding the main opportunities, the main topics that we've tackled during these sessions are the precision agriculture, disaster management, sustainable mobility, mining, geomatics, and drones. Okay. And well, that's all from my side. I just would like to take advantage that today we have the representative of GIC Chile and Mexico, Alvaro and Maria Mota. I would like to invite them to introduce themselves and to invite the rest of the attendees to contact us through the different information channels that every GIC has, the website, the emails, and social media. Okay, so Alvaro, if you want, yeah, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Cos. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy to be with the 3 GICs in this event. I want to say hello to our countries, to Argentina, to Bolivia, to Colombia, Ecuador, and Chile. I'm based in Chile. I'm right now in Santiago. So you can contact us in my email address, and you can contact us in our webpage. Bear with us because we're going to have some local session for each country to see local financing. So we're going to be working on that. There again, you have my contact. Most of you already know me because we have been on several sessions. So we're working hard on this, and we want to capture that opportunities. So we are here for you. So we're gonna keep in touch. Maria, your turn.
Thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Carlos. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fine.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. And I'm very glad to be here with the other centers in this session. And I would like to say good morning to all the attendees coming from the different countries addressed by the different information centers. And buenos días a todos, to the Spanish speakers. And my name is Maria Mota. I'm here the coordinator of the Galileo Information Center for Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. The main objective of this center, as Carlos and Alvaro also already explained, is to foster, to increase the awareness about these European GNSS programs and foster the use of these programs and the development of solutions. And through this session, we want to encourage stakeholders in the region to develop solutions based in GNSS and to know which are the financial opportunities and what are the opportunities to develop solutions in collaboration with European actors in this sense. So just to finalize, I'm the face, the coordinator of the GIC, but I'm representing a big team of people of companies, in fact, with a strong expertise in GNSS, and also companies with a strong sound presence in the region, in Mexico, in Central America, and the Caribbean. So I think all of them for the work, because thanks to them we are achieving these objectives. And I wish you the best luck today for this session today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Carles, Alvaro, and Maria. Now I would like to invite Isabel Mais. I don't know if I said correctly
perfect.
your name.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, representing the European Commission. About she will talk about opportunities, financial opportunities for Latin America. Isabel, when you're ready.
Yes. Yes. Okay, well, hello everyone. I wanted to say good evening, but it's not the evening for you, sorry. So, welcome everyone. I am going to talk to you about one important funding program of the European Commission for everything related to research and innovation. And of course, I'm going to focus on the part related to space, since we are here talking about Galileo. This program from the European Commission is called Horizon Europe, and it covers the period between 2021 and 2027. So it is currently active. My presentation will be going in 2 parts. My first part will be about the content, which is related to our space policy. And the second part will be to give you a few information and tips about concretely how you could participate to a project. funded by Horizon Europe, and how your proposal would be evaluated and what is important to think about when you prepare such a proposal. So I will share my screen so that you can see my presentation. Give me 1 second. Do you see the presentation on your screen?
Yes,
yeah?
you can see your presentation.
Perfect. I put it in slideshow mode so that it's a bit bigger. Voila. So as I said, my first part will be about the content. It's a little bit complex. You will receive the slides. This is just to show you that this Horizon Europe program is quite a complex program, but it does not need to be complex for you. It's more complex for us inside the house. And that it has 3 pillars, that space is under the central pillar, pillar 2, so in the middle of the slide. And we are bundled together with other subjects. Again, it is internal kitchen. I think what is the most important for you to know is that for the period between 2021 and 2027, space, research and innovation under that program will have a budget, has a budget of about 1.75 billion euros. So 1,750 million euros. It's the same, of course, but for 7 years. So it is split between the different.
Isabel?
Yes?
Excuse me. I think Zoom is above your presentation. Could you please minimize
I'm sorry.
Zoom? So I think we are going to see your PowerPoint in the full mode.
Is it better this way?
I think if you minimize the Zoom.
Yeah, okay, this way?
On the right of your.
Yeah, yeah. I have already minimized. Is it better or it does not make any change?
No, I think you have to maximize a little bit.
Maximize, okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, I think it's better now. We can see the full screen.
Okay, so I continue this way? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, a bit bigger, Isabel, because you have to click on the full screen. No.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I was in full screen, huh? But you asked me to minimize, so I will go back to full screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you tell me,
over there, yes.
Is it better this way? Or it does not change anything?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, we can see the full screen now, but
you have to close Zoom.
Yeah,
close. I mean,
close,
not close.
Not to shut it down. Not to shut it down. To.
Do you have
minimize.
the chat? Do you have at the right part of your screen, Isabel, the chat or the Zoom chat or something, or a window?
One second.
That window at the right part of the screen, yes.
Yes, okay. What should I choose?
Close it or minimize, but only that window.
Okay, wait.
Yes,
better.
perfect.
Now you can go to full screen in the presentation. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is it okay for you now?
Better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry for that. I cannot see what you are seeing. So it's all right. Okay, this I will not go into the details. It's only to explain how we built the program, but again, it's internal kitchen. The program is of course linked to the most important priorities of the European Commission, but space is very important for the European Commission. So we are related to the main priorities, so it's okay. And basically our part of the program has a very long name. It's called Open Strategic Autonomy in Developing, Deploying and Using global space-based infrastructure, services, applications, and data. It's a long name because it covers many areas of space research and innovation. It's not only about the satellites up there, but it's also about the ground infrastructure. It's also about the services. So it's really, it really has a large scope. It really covers everything related to our space programs. This is a chart to try to structure the content of our program. To make a long story short, we have some spending which goes to improving, modernizing the infrastructure components of our space program, so mainly Galileo and EGNOS. It is what is called on the screen upstream space. Then we have also money to which is focused on improving the services delivered by the space programs, and also expanding the space programs with, for example, something called space situational awareness. It's all the things linked to how do you avoid a collision between satellites and debris from a previously launched infrastructure. So that is the second part here on the screen, the space program components. And then we also have some horizontal actions linked to, for example, space science, linked to education, etc., etc. So this is for structuring visually the content of our research and innovation program. Just to illustrate what is covered, we have a part which is more targeted at increasing the competitiveness of our space systems. So there we cover things related to telecoms, to Earth observation, to data, to industrial processes, enabling technologies, and so on. We also have a part linked to the capacity to access space. So there we cover launchers, for example, commercial transportation solutions, launch facilities, etc. We also have a part related to the space and the ground infrastructure for the space program. So as I said, that is linked to Galileo, EGNOS, and new services such as space situational awareness. And finally, we have a part which is more linked to services and applications. So how can we increase the use of our of the result of our space programs? If I take the work program of the Horizon Europe space program for 2021 and 2022, which has already been published and which is already closed, it closed only a few weeks ago, we published 45 topics for which potential beneficiaries could make a proposal. And this gives you a split by subtopic and how much budget we dedicated to those different topics. It's just to give you an idea, because of course, the work program is different from 2 years to 2 years. And currently we are working on the work program for 2023 and 2024, and it will not be exactly the same, of course. So we publish those parts, those topics, we publish them as an open call, so anyone can apply. And I will come back to that later on, because you are, of course, interested to know what can you, as Latin American actors, to what can you apply? And you will see it is basically most of what's here on the screen. But there is another part of our research and innovation program for space, which basically no one can apply to, because we work, we delegate it to institutions, especially the European Space Agency or our agency for the space program called EUSPA, because they have a special knowledge, we have a special agreement with them. And instead of opening the topics for competition, we already choose beforehand that we want to work with them as preferred partners. So you do not need to worry about it. It's just to explain that a part of the budget is going this way to pre-identified partners, and therefore is not available as an open call for proposal. Then you also have to know, but it's perhaps not so relevant to you, that even if we have a research and innovation program for space, we also encourage the use of Galileo and EGNOS in non-space related parts of Horizon Europe, for example, linked to transport or linked to energy or linked to environment, where basically we ask the potential beneficiaries of those parts of Horizon Europe that if in their proposal they foresee the use of satellite data or Earth observation data, they have to use Galileo and Copernicus. They can also use competitive systems from other parts of the world, but in order to receive funding, they must at least also use the European programs. Of course, that makes sense. I will not spend too much time on that. No, here comes the part which I suppose is of most interest to you. So how can you, as Latin American potential beneficiaries, participate to the Horizon Europe program for space? As a general rule, you are entitled to participate to any topic that we publish. So normally all our topics are open to all parts of the world, but there are a few nuances to make. And the first nuance is that because space is a potentially security sensitive topic, sometimes depending on the topic, on the exact call that we are publishing, sometimes we need to restrict the participation either to the EU member states or to the EU member states plus the associated countries. Who are the associated countries? They are countries with whom we made a specific partnership related to the space program. And you have here the list, and you see that Latin America is not part of those associated countries. In other words, there are some topics in our Horizon Europe space program when they are reserved for EU member states or EU member states plus associated countries, which are not accessible to you in Latin America. But it's of course not all topics. The general rule is that normally you can access to everything, to all the topics. Then, in terms of how will you, can you get involved? Can you receive funding, yes or no? It depends. There are very specific rules within Horizon Europe saying that when you are from a low or middle income countries, then you can participate with funding, so you can receive funding. When you are from a high income country, normally you do not, you can participate but without EU funding, except in justified cases. So I cannot make it today a general rule. First of all, it depends on the situation of your specific country, whether it is low income, middle income, or high income. And then even if your country is high income, you may still be eligible to receive funding. It depends on the justification. So I'm afraid that this point is pretty much on a case-by-case basis. But it means that in many cases, yes, you can participate and receive funding for your activities. And then a last nuance which I would like to bring is that sometimes we publish a topic which is about international cooperation in the space program. Of course, then then you are extremely welcome to participate, because that is what we're looking for. We are looking for cooperation with other parts of the world than the EU. That is what I wanted to say. This you will read on the slides, because it's just explaining what I said about some topics being restricted to the member states or the member states plus associated countries when there are sensitive security aspects. And here on this slide, I wanted to give you the links, the internet links to where you can find the publication of the course, where you can follow when we publish what course, and then see if you want to make a proposal. So you will receive that, and it's a hyperlink, so you can click and it directly brings you to the right page. So that is what I wanted to tell you about the contents. What type of activities can we fund with Horizon Europe Space Program? Now I am going to give you a part which I know less, because it's a part managed by our agencies, but okay, at least I know the basics, so I can take you through them. And again, you will have the slides with very detailed explanations, and also the links, the right links at the end. So it is the part about, okay, suppose we publish a call, you see that one of the topics we publish is interesting for you, you would like to participate, it's possible for you to participate, and you are preparing a proposal. What happens then? How can you move forward with your proposal? Well, first of all, you will then, through an IT system, submit your proposal, and it will be evaluated. What you need to know is that when you prepare your proposal, you will have to detail different sections. You will have to talk about the scope, about the expected outcome, about the type of action, about the budget that you're proposing, etc. And you will need to make sure that what you propose there is answering what we have been defining in the topic. So we define what type of activities we are looking for. That's the scope. What type of outcome we would like the project to deliver. That's the expected outcome. What type of action we would like you to propose. Is it what we call an innovation action, which is really basic innovation, really upstream, or is it more a research and innovation action, which is a bit further down, closer to the market? And actually, I made a mistake. It's the other way around. But okay, just to tell you that there are different types of action. And don't worry, there is a good documentation explaining what is what. So you will have to make sure that you answer to what we are asking. Then you will also need to make sure that your proposal is meeting our guidelines on certain areas. And one of the guidelines, very important, is that with Horizon Europe Space Program, we want to focus only on civil aspects, not defense aspects. Defense with the European Commission is covered by another program, which is called the European Defense Fund. And we don't mix. So nothing in the proposal must be defense related. It can only be civilian related. And then you have other restrictions, but normally they should not be relevant in space, but like nothing can be included which aims at cloning of human or at changing the genes of human beings, etc., etc. Okay, it makes sense, but nevertheless, you have to be careful not to include things which may not be included. Then something is wrong. I can, voilà. Moving my slides. So when you have prepared your proposal, we receive it. Then it goes through an evaluation process with external experts. Then those experts come together and they try to reach a consensus on their view of your proposal. They make a proposal to the Commission reviews it, it's a panel review, and then the Commission together with the agency makes a final selection of the projects which are selected or the ones which are not selected. We also check, of course, things like basic admissibility criteria. So, of course, the applications, the projects, they must be complete, they must be biddable, they must include a number of elements, including how the results of the project will be exploited and disseminated. They may not exceed a certain number of pages. It sounds very administrative. I'm very sorry for that, but it's very well explained in the documentation. And I can only advise you to really check that you do it right, because it would be too sad to be excluded for a little detail, something that you have overlooked. It does not happen very often, but sometimes we have to exclude a proposal because it has not, it does not meet one of the basic criteria, which is a bit sad when the rest of the proposal is quite good, of course. Then probably you would like to know on the basis of which criteria will the proposal be evaluated. Basically, we have three main criteria, which are excellence, impact, and quality and efficiency of the implementation. Of course, you wonder, what does it mean? What's behind those categories? It depends a little bit on the type of actions. For research and innovation actions, as well as innovation actions, you have here on the screen and on the slide, I'm not going to go into the details today, what we mean by excellence, what we mean by impact, and what we mean by quality and efficiency of the implementation. And when you prepare your proposal, you should try to challenge yourself or ask somebody who is not directly involved in your team or in your company to try to judge your preparation based on those criteria to see whether you meet the criteria to a high enough extent. And we also sometimes have another type of action called coordination and support actions, CSAs, where we have a slightly different definition of those three criteria. So that's a little bit how the evaluation happens. We also, what is also important to know is that we check that the proposal not only meets a certain minimum total score, but also that it has a certain minimum score on each of the three criteria. So it's not like you can be very strong on two criteria and very lousy on the last one, then you will not pass, because you need to really have a minimum score on the three criteria. So it's not like one is compensating the other. You cannot just do a good job on two criteria and a very bad job on the last one. Now, you really have to make sure everything is well taken on board. And then the last point that I would like to draw your attention on is that in the general conditions, and it's all explained in the documentation, of course, we pay a lot of attention to certain dimensions, such as open science, such as gender balance, such as what we call the do no significant harm principle, which is linked to climate and environment. As I said before, that the proposals only include civil elements, nothing on defense or military elements. And of course, this is all to be checked. Also, artificial intelligence is another area that we have certain guidelines about. All these guidelines need to be taken into account as well here. Management of intellectual property rights is also quite important to look at. So I put for you here in the presentation, and it's also hyperlinks that you can click on, more information about this part of my presentation. So about how do you submit proposals, how are they evaluated, and where can you find all the detailed documentation to help you prepare your proposals. This ends my presentation, so I hope it was clear enough. So now you know that we have a research and innovation program for space. You know that it has quite a good budget for the period between 2021 and 2027. You know that we work with work programs usually for 2 years. For 2021 and 22, unfortunately, it's too late. But we are working on 2023 and 2024, and it should be published at the end of this year. So that is not too late. You will have the chance to participate to that work program and the following ones if you want to. You have all the links where the things will be published. Yes, and yeah, I'm always available if you have questions, if you need some guidance to take you through the process. At least you have had an introduction already through this presentation. I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm of course available for questions. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabel. We have already some questions for you, but now we are going to listen to Mr. Wojtek Fort. I don't know if I said it right. He is representing the European Union Agency for the Space Program. Wojtek, when you want, when you're ready, you can start.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm going to directly share my screen. I hope you can see it well. So I'm going to mainly complement the presentation from Isabel with a specific opportunity in space applications that are on the table today and available to you. So as said, my name is Wojtek Forst, and I'm coming from European Union Agency for the Space Program. The abbreviation of that is EUSPA. So you saw that there are many topics in this RNI program, Horizon Europe. And
Wojtek?
Yes?
I'm sorry, I think we are seeing your presentation in the edition mode. Can you please?
I put it full screen. I will try to maybe change the sharing. Let me see.
Okay. I think you need to share full screen and then put the presentation in the presentation mode.
Sorry, I lost the audio now. Can you see my slide correctly now?
No, not yet.
Not yet. So we'll try to share again then. Maybe I will try to share the screen, the whole screen.
Okay, now it's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. So out of the many calls and topics, I would like to complement the presentation of Isabel with highlighting the 6 topics which you can see on the screen from call for 2022. Because this call is for space applications, so covering the mainly, of course, Galileo but then also Copernicus and GovSatcom, which is covering the governmental satellite communication. This call will open in October of this year, and the deadline for submissions will be in February 2023. You can see that each of the topic has a little bit different type of action. This is detail which is also influencing the funding rate. In general, there are three actions or three types of actions that we have. One is innovation action. In general, there the proposals are expected to produce plans and arrangements or designs for new or improved products or services. Then the action for research and innovation is there. The projects are expected to establish new knowledge or to explore the feasibility of new technology or product. And then the last one is the pre-commercial procurement action, which is focusing on the public bodies and is trying to bring them as the first customer. You can see that the funding rate for the innovation actions is 70% for the profit entities. Otherwise, in all the other actions, which is the pre-commercial procurement and research and innovation, the funding rate is 100%. It might sound complicated, but the type of action is not so important for you at the end. I just wanted to highlight that this is also influencing the funding rate. So you can see that there are 6 topics where the first one is focusing on Galileo and EGNOS. Then we have 2 which are mainly for Copernicus. One for Galileo and Copernicus focusing on public procurement. And then one topic which will be very important is the cooperation with international partners, and one on governmental and satellite communication. So now I would like to go through detail of these topics, but mainly I would like to highlight the one for the designing space-based downstream applications with international partners, because I see that this would be a big opportunity for you. And secondly, also the first topic on the applications for smart mobility. So let's go ahead and let's take a look on the first topic within this call. So the name is eGNSS Applications for Smart Mobility. This abbreviation of eGNSS stands for the European Global Navigation Satellite Systems, and by that we mean Galileo and EGNOS. So for you to simplify, you can simply imagine that this is for Galileo mainly. And here we're looking for the development of applications which are close to the market and are using the Galileo in transport and mobility services. And we'll come up with a demonstration within the lifetime of the project. Proposals may be submitted in any of the transport areas or multi-mode approach, such as aviation, maritime, rail, and road. Of course, on the slide, I don't have here the full text, which is coming from the work program. So all the topics are described in details in the work program, which is also linked in the slide. And there you can see the full text and also the market segments where this topic is targeted. Here it's a more, let's say, a summarization. In this topic, there is indicative foreseen budget 9.5 million euro, and it is innovation action. And it is focusing, as said, mainly on Galileo and EGNOS. The second topic is pre-commercial procurement. There, the foreseen budget is 4.2 million euro. And there we're looking for applications that are bringing the public sector as the Galileo or Copernicus user. So that means that the public body can come with the proposal of the project, and within the project run a tender within which can ask as a buyer group to companies to develop a certain solution based on Galileo or Copernicus. So the proposal should focus on clearly identified needs and demonstrate the sustainable solution beyond the lifespan of the project. The list of applications is not really limited. This is kept open, but I put here on the slide a few areas where we see that these examples are really good examples, or areas where we see a lot of opportunities for public bodies to submit the proposals. So one of them, I believe, very promising, is crisis and emergency management, but also, for example, the smart cities and public transport, which was already mentioned here on the previous slide. Then I would like to mention briefly two other topics which are also included in this call, and they're focusing on Copernicus. The first topic is for the downstream applications and the European data economy. So there the proposals are required to make use of existing European data infrastructures, such as the Copernicus DIAS platforms. These DIAS platforms are platforms which are making it easy to access the data. And then there is a second topic, which is large-scale Copernicus data uptake. And this is focusing on artificial intelligence and high-performance computing. However, I believe that the main topic which could be interesting for you is the topic which is called designing space-based downstream applications with international partners. And as the name suggests, this topic is focusing on cooperation with international partners. This is why I think that this could be a good opportunity for you. One of the points is to promote and uptake the use of satellite navigation and EGNOS and Galileo, but also to Copernicus. The proposal should lead to new improved products, processes, or services using the EU space technologies, meaning, again, Galileo, EGNOS, or Copernicus. part of the proposals can be also building capacity and awareness rising about Galileo and Copernicus. The projects within this topic are expected to contribute to 3 high-level outcomes. So one is the usage of Galileo and unique features of Galileo, so-called differentiators, such as the high accuracy and authentication. Also, one of the outcomes to contribute to is the combination of Galileo with Copernicus. Also, one of the things which are in the scope of this topic is to achieve critical mass of space-based applications and success stories, demonstrating the advantages of the differentiators that I mentioned in the solutions and services. And here, I think what is very interesting, and you can see again the details in the documents where you have the full text, but it is saying that when the proposal is dealing with Copernicus-based applications, participants of at least one partner from the country, or let's say at least one partner of the country of the proposal should be from the country which signed the Copernicus cooperation agreement. And I will get to that right away on the next slide, because here you can see conditions about this topic. We'll still speak about the topic for the international partners. And you can see that on top of the countries eligible for funding as presented by Isabel, also the countries that have signed an administrative cooperation agreement on Copernicus data access and Earth observation data exchange are exceptionally eligible for European Union funding. And the list of these countries include also Chile, Colombia, and Brazil. So this is the main reason why we believe that this could be a good opportunity for you. The total indicative budget for this topic is 5.1 million euro, and the expected size of one project is between 1 and 1.5 million euro. However, this is not mandatory, it's just indicative. There is also defined the technological readiness level, so-called TRL of the applications or of the resulting product or application. So this TRL levels are also defined in the documentation. I can provide you a link. It's from 1 to 9, where the 9 is the finished product. In this case, the expected TRL is from 3 to 4. So this was the description of the topics inside the call, and here on this slide, I allowed myself to actually repeat again what Isabel already mentioned, and that is, if we speak about the proposals focusing on applications as applications of Galileo, so the proposals which are using the Galileo signal to develop further products and services. As Isabel mentioned, there are a lot of another topics which are requiring to use Galileo in case there is satellite navigation being used. And I'm mentioning it here again because we actually went through all the proposals, and we made the list of topics where this condition is described. So you can see here, if you scan this QR code, you should get to the document where all the topics are listed. And so this was about the Horizon Europe. Of course, I would like to give you some examples or statistics about the projects that applied before you. But for Horizon Europe, we don't have the projects running yet. So I can show you some data and examples from the previous program, which was called Horizon 2020 and was running for the previous 7 years. Because specifically there were 5 calls for, excuse me, for the usage of Galileo, for Galileo applications. And what I would like to highlight on this data, that the average success rate was 22%. So actually each 5th application was selected for funding or even more. If you're interested within Horizon 2020, there were 81 projects selected. Some of them are still running from the last calls. And these projects, of course, are generating some results. So you can see it's interesting, for example, that there are already 16 patents or more than 70 products. So we're also proud about the results of the projects. But when we speak about the projects, I think it's also good to give you example how could the project look like, and what does it mean. So for this reason, I have here example of one project called Ampere. The longer name is Asset Mapping Platform for Emerging Countries Electrification. And this project is aiming to develop a solution with a semi-automated drone with various sensors, cameras, laser, to map the electrification networks, the electric power networks, and connect it with the cloud platform, which is working as the geographical information system. And by that, with all this data to support the decision making of the actors collecting the information to plan electrical network maintenance and also the upgrade. So in Horizon Europe, there are usually consortia of organizations. That means there are usually more partners together working on one proposal. So in this case, you can see that there are around 7 partners working on this project, and one of them is actually the university from the Dominican Republic, where the consortium is collecting the user needs. It will be doing the demonstration, and also is in contact with potential future customers. So here you can see that this cooperation, the international cooperation, is also possible within the normal topics, not only those focusing on international cooperation. In this specific example of this project, it's running for 2 years, more or less, from February 2020 till June 2022. So it will be finishing soon. The total cost of the project is over €2 million. and the EU contribution is more than 1.5 million euro, and it's coordinated by a company, Italian company. So within the consortium, there is always one partner which is coordinating. It's the main partner within the consortium. In case you would like to see more projects which were dealing with Galileo in the past, I invite you to take a look on our website, where there is the whole portfolio of projects in the past, so you can see what was already developed in the past, and also for inspiration, so that you don't repeat, for example, some idea that is already there. And as one of the last thing, I want to also mention our report on Earth observation and global navigation satellite systems. This is free of charge, and you can download it from the link that is on the slide. It is quite rich content describing the market in each of the market segments. Actually, now there are 17 market segments where we described the trends of the market, how many units are sold, and so on. So it's a very interesting reading when you searching for an opportunity, or you have an idea, or you're searching for the gap on the market. And that is all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Wojtek. Now we have the Q&A session. We don't have much time, but we'll try to make some questions here. Wojtek, there's a question for you from Francisco. The GNSS applications for smart mobility include drones? They include the use of drones?
Yes, this is a good question. I believe that they do include drones, but to confirm that, I would need to go inside the document to see if it's mentioned, because what will matter at the end when you're writing the proposals, it will be always evaluated against what is written in the work program. But when we speak about aviation and mobility, their drones are playing important roles. So I believe that yes, this applies also to drones, because aviation is also mentioned there as one of the main areas. And meanwhile, I found that yes, the drones operations are mentioned in the document.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we have lots of questions for Isabel. First one is, could you please indicate the names of the countries in Latin America that could participate in EU and European Union funding?
Yes.
Not all the countries, but
well, I do not have to make a list, so it's quite simple. I answered in the chat. In fact, all Latin American countries may participate. But whether or not beneficiaries in a Latin American country can receive funding depends on the level of income of the country. Low income, middle income, no problem. High income, normally not, but there can be exceptions depending on the circumstances. So for those high income countries, it's a bit on a case-by-case basis. Who is a low, middle and high income country? I do not know by heart, but it is also in the documentation of our program.
Okay, thank you very much. Now a question from Danielle Ludwig. Is it possible for a partner working under the Copernicus Agreement, Chile, Colombia, and Brazil, apply for a eGNSS topic?
Yes, it does not. It's not because the partner is working on Copernicus that it would not be eligible to participate to a Galileo topic. If the proposal is convincing, that there is no, it's not a contradiction. It's not a reason not to be allowed to participate.
Okay, thanks. Another question, which types of companies and institutions are eligible for funding under the Horizon program? Private companies, universities?
To my knowledge, and I hope I'm not saying a mistake because I have not been in the area for a long time, but it's any type of entity. It can be a private company, it can be a public entity, it can be an NGO, it can be a groupment of academia, any entity.
Okay, thank you. And now a question from Antonio Serrano. On the other hand, is it possible for a country not working under the Copernicus Agreement, Mexico, Central America, apply for an EGNSS topic? Okay.
Yes, yes, of course. There is no relation. It's not because you are or you are not working under a Copernicus agreement that you would be allowed or not allowed to participate. We do not have such a condition. Again, it's really open. It's really the proposal which is judged, not evaluated. It's not the nature of the participants.
Okay, thank you. Now a question from Juan. He asks if it's possible to present proposals together with companies from European Union.
Yes.
And how can companies from Latin America find European partners?
Yes, it's a very good question. Yes, yes, of course, you can associate yourself with European companies. And in fact, I forgot to mention an important point, which is that normally the proposal cannot come from only one entity. If I'm not mistaken, there must be at least 3 entities. I need to check that, but alone is for sure not possible. It has to be, sorry, a cooperation. Now, how to find a potential partners? There is a place on our portal, so one of the links that that is in my presentation, which is dedicated to helping find a partner. So you can post there who you are in terms of entity, what type of partner you are looking for, and you may get an answer. I say may because I do not know whether it's very successful or used a lot, but it's certainly one of the possible ways. Of course, very useful for people who are not located in the EU and for whom it's not so easy to find EU partners. Yeah. Okay.
There's a question about partnerships with Brazilian companies related to Galileo in our region. Mundo Geo is an example of a company that is participating in a consortium and Parque Tecnológico de São José dos Campos. So I think it's already answered. Another question, is the European Union, European Commission interested in content creators to promote Galileo?
What is meant by content creator? Is it applications, development of applications? Or is it something else?
It's for marketing, for
no.
content related.
No, at least not from the research and innovation program, because it's not really research and innovation. There are communication activities, but it is something else. And to my knowledge, they're not open for competition, and it's another process. So in this program, no.
Okay, thanks.
Isabel, I think they are indeed referring to applications.
You think that's what?
They are indeed referring to applications.
Okay, yes, applications. So the fact of using Galileo signals, for example, or Copernicus data, for example, in applications, for example, mobility-related applications, farming-related application, things like that. Yes, it is part of our research and innovation activities. We have some topics which are related to applications instead of being related to the hardware, the infrastructure. So applications are indeed covered as well.
Okay, thank you. I think we have 5 more minutes to end the webinar. So a question is, can a company based in Latin America be the leader of a consortium and create a project for funding by the European Commission?
To my knowledge, yes, in the sense that you may be the leader. Does not need to be that it's an EU partner who is the leader. And the second part of the question was?
I'm sorry. I think it's this. If a company can be the leader of a company.
Yes. Yeah. It's not forbidden that.
Okay. And the last question, I think we don't have any more questions. What kind of documentation or registration is required of a non-European company to register in the European Commission system to participate in a financial in a project?
To be honest, I do not know, because I'm more working on the policy than on the actual submission of proposals, and we do not have somebody from HADIA. Maybe EUSPA, maybe Votec has a bit more information on that, but I suppose it's the same kind of information as European partners, so it's usually a statement of the accounts of the entity, a proof of registration that it is indeed an association or company that exists, that sort of documents, I think. Votec, would you have any perspective on that?
Yes, Isabel, I can confirm that to my knowledge, of course, there are standard data when you're applying, such as the names, contact points, and so on. However, further, there will be validation team validating each entity, and they might ask for a few legal documents and also bank account and confirmation that the bank account belongs to that entity.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we are at the end of our webinar. I would like to ask the final remarks of the presenters in the same sequence of the presentations. Mr. Luis Cuervo, could you give your final words?
Thank you very much. I think it's been very, very interesting, because you know, it's opened new inroads to Latin American stakeholders for you know, the submission of proposals for projects in this particular area. And I thank you very, very much, both to the very, very clear exposés by our colleagues, and to the entire team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Carlos?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I cannot hear you because the batteries of my headphones are finished. So I just say some words, okay? But I cannot answer. I cannot listen your question. So I just would say that thanks all for attending. I just will try to kind of answer one of the questions. Is that how the companies can find a potential partners for this project, and at the end is one of the objectives of these working groups. As I said in my presentation, one of the next activities, probably by September, October, we'll try to organize a kind of activities where we try to help all the companies at the end, those that have been participated in these working groups, and framing the different opportunities that we have seen in this working group activities. We can put them together to help them and see if they can organize a project together or develop any kind of activity together based on Galileo, of course. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Carlos. Alvaro?
Thank you all for attending. And now that we have these calls, in the future, we now have to work in the proposal. And like Carlos says, that's the objective, the main objective of the working groups is to start working on those proposals, to start making new proposals so we can achieve the goal of presenting from Latin America some solutions using Galileo and in this case also Copernicus. Maria.
Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you very much to the speakers in particular for bringing a little bit more of light regarding these financial schemes, financial programs. And I saw some questions from our people from Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. So I already know that there are some people already interested in how to apply to these financial schemes. So we have a lot of work to do to help them and support them in how to create a proposal, a good proposal, and how to apply to these programs. So this is the work we are going to do. Our next steps. Thank you very much.
Yeah. In fact, what I will do is as soon as we publish the next calls for proposals, I will let Luis know so that he can then liaise with you and you know when it's opening, when it starts. I think then you do not lose time. You know from the beginning and you have the full period until the deadline for preparing your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Isabel, please, your final remarks.
I think it was my final remark. I think it's nice to see so much interest. I do understand that there is a need to keep you informed because not being close to us in Brussels, of course, it's not easy for you to get the right information at the right time. Okay, it's a little bit sad that we have already missed the opportunity for 2021 and 2022, so we'll not miss any other opportunities as of now by keeping you closely informed, and we stay at your disposal for any further seminars or discussions that you would like to have, because now with online meetings, it's of course much easier than it used to be to set it up, so yeah.
Thank you very much. Wojtek?
Sorry, Luis, did you want to say something?
Yeah, no,
yeah, just your final remarks.
Wojtek,
okay, good. So thank you everybody for participation and organizing this event, which is doing the important job to actually pass the message about the funding opportunities that there are in Horizon Europe. I would like to highlight that it can seem when there are deadlines, for example, we saw one call in February next year, that the deadlines are far away, but believe me, it takes a lot of time to actually find the partners in the consortium and to write a good proposal with the good fine-tuned information. So my advice would be to start as soon as possible preparing, even when the calls, for example, are not opened yet. All the data now for the calls in 2022 are written in the work program, so you can already read the text and start preparing for the proposals. And as it was mentioned already in the questions and answers, one of the crucial parts is to find the partners. So I would just like to add two things on top of what was said. Often there are Horizon Space info days organized throughout the Europe. There is a commission organizing info day. There are small info day, national info days in various locations, and also we as EUSPA we will organize information day probably in October. You know, these info days used to be physical, but now with the COVID-19 pandemic, it's often online. And I think this is a great opportunity for the countries from Latin America that can actually connect online and search the partners there. One more idea where to search for the partners, I think, is also the past projects. When you see the projects from the past, you see the partners that were participating, and like this, you can easily find companies and institutions that have a good experience with Horizon projects, and you can contact them. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much for having me and organizing this event.
Okay, thank you very much. Luis?
Yeah, one very last comment. The percentage of Latin American companies in these processes up to now has been very, very low. Okay, exceptionally very low. One of the reasons behind this may be due to the fact that people tend to believe that this type of projects can only be put forward by space experts, which is not necessarily the case. I mean, depending on the type of technology or the type of TLR you're going to be managing, it might not necessarily be the case that you have to be a space technology expert. So the message here is go for it. I mean, even if you're working in agriculture or in transport or in some kind of normally unrelated to space sector, you may find a great opportunity to push forward a project in this regard. Don't be shy. And the second last message I would like to give is that the Galileo Info Centers are there precisely to help you find the project partners, not only in Latin America, but in Europe as well. So it's very important that you take hold of their services. And last but not least, do not forget to take a look at the EU delegation websites in the area. In every single country, there's an EU delegation in Latin America. And in the biggest countries, they do organize the info days that Isabel was talking about, or Wojtek, I think. They do organize at least once a year a big info day. So this year, I think they did one in Chile, one in Brazil, and one in Mexico, and in some other countries as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to thank all the attendees and speakers on this online meeting of the Working Group on Business and Financial Opportunities based on Galileo in Latin America. We look forward to seeing you at upcoming online or in-person events, and we invite you to follow Galileo Information Centers in Latin America through our websites and social networks, where we will make available the video and the presentations of this meeting. See you soon. Gracias por su participación. Hasta luego. Obrigado pela sua participação. Até a próxima. Ciao.
Thank you to the interpreters.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Bye bye. Chao, chao, que estén bien.
Obrigado.
Buenos días.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Chao.
Chao.